Hello and welcome to Studio 51. I'm Alex Whitler.
And I'm Samantha Peel. Studio 51 is a weekly news magazine produced by Loyola students here in Chicago. We're called Studio 51 because we're located on East Pearson in this beautiful street studio in downtown Chicago.
We've got a great show for you today with the latest on the highly anticipated gubernatorial results and a study on texting and driving. Later, I'll sit down with the Loyola Phoenix news editor to talk about future university investments.
Sports in 51 Seconds criticizes Chicago's reaction to sports adversity, and our foodie takes us to Edgewater.
We've got a great show for you today. So,
here's Molly Brewer with this week's news summary.
Molly?
What's in the headlines, Molly?
After Tuesday's midterm election, the country faces a wave of red. The man in charge is still holding on to his Democratic agenda within limits. The Republicans may have won the Senate, but it's going to take cooperation from both sides to make any decisions. Although President Obama isn't taking any responsibility for the Democratic losses in the election results, in a news conference, he agreed to compromise on trade, corporate tax reform, and infrastructure spending. Here in Chicago, election results didn't stray too far from the national norm. In a released statement, incumbent Pat Quinn conceded and announced efforts to create a smooth transition for Republican Governor-elect Bruce Rauner. According to the Census Bureau, despite early voting and same-day voter registration, only 7% of Chicagoans between the ages of 18 and 24 voted in the midterm election. With about a 170,000 vote difference between Rauner and Quinn, it seems more voters in that age group could have had a great impact on the election results. Here in Chicago today, in one of his last motions before retiring, the Archdiocese of Chicago, Cardinal Francis George, is expected to release new files on sexual abuse. The release includes 36 priests accused of sexually abusing children. Last weekend, Chicago hosted one of the world's greatest acts in tightrope walking. Studio 51's Emma Wheeler brings us to River North to catch all the high-flying action.
For many Chicagoans, today was just like any other Sunday. But for renowned daredevil Nik Wallenda, he took today to whole new heights. Downtown Chicago flooded with people Sunday as the city watched high flyer Nik Wallenda cross the Chicago River over 50 stories up. Roads shut down from Lake to Kinsey as he crossed from the Marina City Towers over to the Leo Burnett Building. His unique performance is part of a 7-generation family legacy. They're called the Flying Wallendas, and they bring a crowd from all over the country.
You know what? How many people do something like this? I mean, you never see it, and for us in Utah, we'd never see something like this, so we thought, let's come to Chicago so that we can see something spectacular.
His walk on Sunday earned him 2 world records, one for the steepest incline, and the other highest blindfolded. This brings his total to 9 records in his 20 years of wire walking. Many Chicagoans are proud to have such a feat accomplished so close to home.
It's a good attraction for everybody in the city of Chicago. I live a couple of doors down, so we just thought we'd come over here and check it out.
Although some spectators may have wanted to try the walk themselves, others, well...
Never. It's not going to happen.
Most people will be leaving the high wire walking to the professionals. Nik Wallenda and his family continue to soar, or rather walk, high above expectations. With Studio 51, I'm Emma Wheeler.
The Flying Wallenda's next challenge is to conquer the New York City skyline. On a smaller scale, plans for the lakefront George Lucas Museum were unveiled to the public this week. When asked his opinion on the out-of-this-world design, Mayor Rahm Emanuel spoke instead about why Chicago is the best location for the museum. Emanuel says that it will add to the educational and economic strength of the city. And finally, fear not, Starbucks enthusiasts. The traditional eggnog latte isn't going anywhere. After numerous customer complaints about the removal of the 26-year-old beverage, the company apologized and will have the drink back in stores by November 17th. For Studio 51's news summary, this has been Molly Brewer. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Molly. So did you see the High Wire act, Alex?
I wish I did, but I actually had so much work. I had to see it on television and not in person. What about you?
I didn't, but I heard it was pretty cold. Would have been a good time to have those eggnog lattes.
Sure would have. But up next,
Samantha Sartori gives us the rundown on some of the latest health concerns. Samantha?
Thanks, ladies. Colon cancer is usually associated with middle-aged and elderly people, but new research says it is on the rise among young adults. The number isn't bad enough yet for people under 50 to get colonoscopies, yet doctors estimate the rate of colorectal cancer to double for people ages 20 to 34. The Journal of the American Medical Association Surgery study predicts that by 2030, 1 in 10 colon cancers will be in younger adults. According to the American Cancer Society, about 1 in 20 people will be diagnosed with colon or rectal cancer during their lifetime. However, researchers say that thanks to more screenings, the number of new colon cancers diagnosed in adults over 50 has gone down. And is eczema more than skin deep? A new study suggests that people suffering from the itchy skin condition are more likely to suffer broken bones and joint-related injuries. The study from the Journal of the American Medical Association of Dermatology found that people with eczema were over 40% more likely to have had any injury and almost 70% more likely to have an injury serious enough to limit physical activity. Chronic inflammation from the skin condition is associated with bone loss and increased fracture risk. And finally, just about everyone agrees texting and driving is dangerous, but many people do it anyway. Despite laws against it in some states and broad public service campaigns, a new survey found that 3/4 of the people reviewed admitted they text and drive. According to the CDC, every day in the U.S., more than 9 people are killed and over 1,000 people are injured in crashes that involved a distracted driver. Distracted driving includes much more than just looking at your phone. However, texting while driving makes it 23 times more likely to have an accident. So what are the reasons people are checking their phones? The AT&T survey found that over 40% of texting drivers said they wanted to stay connected to friends, family, and work, and almost 30% said they were worried they will miss something important. But is it really worth it? For Studio 51 Health, I'm Samantha Sartori.
Thanks, Samantha. So I wonder, do you drive to school or commute or anything?
I don't, but I do drive at home. And to be honest, I did have a really bad scare once, so no more texting and driving for me.
Yeah, the CTA has proved life-saving for me. Well, you know that feeling when you're at a game and there's a fan behind you that just take things a little too seriously? Well, this week's Sports Fanatic has more on this. Joaquin, you've got 51 seconds.
Thanks, Alex. Let me start by saying I have a great appreciation for Chicago as a sports town. From the Bulls to the Blackhawks to the Bears, truly fantastic sport teams have called the Windy City home. But I don't know if Chicago fans have gotten spoiled, impatient, soft, or what. Every single time something negative happens to a team here, it's as if the day of reckoning is upon us at last. Every single time. I'll begin with the Bears. They've been struggling of late. You definitely might say underperforming a bit. But if you read the newspapers, listen to talk radio, or walk into any bar around town, you'd be under the impression the Bears are on the verge of losing World War II to Germany. Hey Chicago, maybe the Bears just aren't that good. I mean, any team that puts Jay Cutler in a leadership position and thinks they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender needs to look up the definition of Super Bowl contender. And maybe the one guy you shouldn't be throwing to the Wolves right now is Derrick Rose. The man had 2 major knee injuries in consecutive seasons. He's gone through so much adversity just to get to the point where he can play this year. Yet we are just a couple weeks into the season, and after Rose sat 2 games with an ankle injury, people are saying he will never be the same player again. It's Game 5. Do you want him playing in meaningless games early in the season or in May when a championship is on the line? How about Chicago fans stop being so melodramatic and instead live up to the hard-nosed blue-collar image this city supposedly has? For Sports in 51 Seconds, I'm Joaquin Carrig.
Well, I don't really follow sports, so I don't get what all the hype is about.
You know, I really only care about the Bulls, so is that wrong of me?
You're asking the wrong person.
I guess that's true. After the break, I'll sit down with the Loyola Phoenix news editor on a talk about how a Senate discussion could affect you.
And our commentary shares her opinion on whether or not voting should be online. Stay tuned.
For more simple ways to fight the flu, visit www.flu.gov.
G Morning Sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Welcome back to Studio 51. I'm Samantha Pion. Every year, Loyola students come together to raise awareness of homelessness and hunger in the city of Chicago and around the world. One student organization devotes an entire week to this cause. Studio 51 reporter Monique James has this special report.
The community service and action located on Loyola's Lakeshore campus is promoting Hunger Week. Enki Ajendi, a Loyola graduate student, explains the community service and action's mission for the Hunger Week program.
The mission is to really educate the community about how prevalent hunger is on a local, national, and global scale. I think hunger, it's a major issue, but I think a lot of people tend to forget about it, and so Hunger Week is just a way to bring awareness about how prevalent hunger is and the different complexities of hunger.
The Damon Center is full of volunteers who are working to advocate Hunger Week. Many volunteers are encouraging students to be a part of the movement to end hunger. According to Hunger in America, 1 in 6 people in Cook County go to soup kitchens and food pantries for help.
Right now I'm outside the Sustainable Food Fair where people can learn how to exercise healthier eating habits and how eating healthier impacts our environment.
Aaron Durba, Director of Sustainability, explains his concern about the lack of healthy eating in America.
Is Loyola addressing the social justice issue of food, right? People that don't have access to food, don't have access to healthy food, right? Maybe it's just a convenience store that has a bunch of chips and fast food options, but really not stuff that can sustain or make healthy bodies and minds for people.
Many tables are set up at the food fair to educate the community about living a healthier lifestyle.
If you would like to get involved in the Hunger Week, it's not too late. The events continue through Sunday. For a list of events, you can visit the Community Service and Action website at luc.edu/hungerweek. Reporting for Studio 51, I'm Monique James.
Thank you, Monique. Now, another issue. This week's Loyola Phoenix featured an article on a university controversy regarding fossil fuels and divestment. Loyola Phoenix News editor Grace Runkle is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Sam, and thanks for joining us, Grace. Thanks, Sam, and thanks for joining us, Grace. I know that this is an article, and we're going to talk about it. So I know that Loyola is among one of the top 5 greenest universities in the U.S. Would you mind explaining what exactly divestment is and how it plays a role in all of this?
So basically, fossil fuel divestment means that we want to pull our investments away from fossil fuel companies. We all know that fossil fuels are bad for the environment because when they're burned, they release gases into the atmosphere that trap heat, and that contributes to global warming. So since Loyola places such a big importance on being a green university, pulling away our investments from these would just help us become even more green.
Okay, and I know that the school senate is considering 2 options. The first is to just take the money out of the fossil fuel companies, and the second is to actually take the donations from alums and put it into green ones. So how exactly does that affect students, if at all?
So basically, students would benefit because if we're pulling away our investments from companies that burn fossil fuels, they're going to be living in a more green environment. Other than that, it doesn't really affect them too much. I think the bigger issue is that students are going to be consulted about how the university should be spending their money, since we have had instances this year where students have been left out of the decision-making process, like with the changes to the spring finals week schedule. So it's nice to see that students are being consulted in what's actually going on in the university.
All right, well, thanks again for joining us.
No problem.
And now we turn to Jade Anderson to get her thoughts on another way to vote. So what do you think, Jade?
We live in an era where virtually every daily task can be done on the internet.
So why can't we vote online too? I mean, think about it. We shop online, we bank online, some of us even date online. But for centuries, Americans have had to show up to a polling place and check off boxes for their candidate of choice. So why haven't we made a change? Critics argue that online voting is a recipe for chaos. Many say that computers are not secure enough and that large amounts of people would be politically motivated to corrupt online ballots. I understand that there are many precautions and difficulties that come with counting something as serious as electoral votes, but that doesn't mean that we should stop the progress of online voting. You can't just declare that the internet is entirely dangerous. Dangerous, corrupt? Think about the mishaps in this last election without the internet. To even consider the current US voting system as a standard of safety is laughable. How easy do you think it is to manipulate a machine, memory card, or a piece of paper? For those of you who are so concerned about security of voting online, the solution is to actually be proactive by using some of our many computer and security experts. Trillions of dollars have been spent on perfecting online banking systems that now function as sensitive as air traffic control and take place on the internet. Online voting can be perfected too. All 80 Canadian cities have experimented with online voting, and one town in Ontario has offered online ballots in local elections since 2003. In Tuesday's election in Illinois, citizens waited in line for 3 to 9 hours just to vote, and among the voters, only 10 to 15% of them were under the age of 30. The main reason why young people didn't vote? Because they didn't have enough time. If you want a better outcome, we have to make a change. Let's start the process of being able to vote online. For Studio 51's commentary, I'm Jade Anderson.
Thanks, Jade. I know I would love to be able to vote from home.
I know, it seems like such a time saver.
And we all know Americans are all about saving time and money. Up next, our Tech Talk tells us how you can do both with a new Google invention.
And our foodie serves up some scrumptious sushi. It seems like I'm always hungry, and I can't wait to find out another place to stuff my face.
All right then, Dr. Seuss. Stay tuned.
I got no pulse, so losing. Shocking. Is it real all the time? Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We just buzzed. Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Maybe you should go to your shelter and get a mature dog who will make your blues disappear. How's that for tricks? I got picked. Wow.
Thanks for staying with us. People always hear save time and money, and they're hooked. Stephanie Buffamonte has more information on a new way to do just that.
With Halloween over, the holiday season is around the corner, and there are some apps to help you shop. Here are some up-and-coming applications that could replace your wallet. Apple Pay is a new app that hooks up to your bank account or credit card and allows you to pay with your phone at the register. Once you reach the checkout counter, just tap your phone right where you would normally swipe your card to pay for purchases. For now, this function is only available on iPhone 6 or the new Apple Watch. Don't throw out your wallet just yet. Some technology experts say that hackers could find ways to get your personal information from the app. However, with Apple Pay, your credit card number is hidden from the merchant when you tap your phone. This app is nothing new. A similar version by Google has been around for a little while, but is becoming more popular thanks to Apple Pay. With Google Wallet, you can tap and pay at the register at any U.S. store that accepts debit MasterCard. This app hooks up to your bank account or credit card. For now, Tap and Pay is only available on select Android devices. There are some extra functions for Google's app. Owe your friends some cash? You can send money to their email through Google Wallet, just as easy as sending a text. And if you want to get rid of those gift cards, scan them by using the camera on your phone. They'll be registered into the app and ready to use. If you don't have an Android, you can use the app to send or receive money and pay online, but you're going to have a Gmail account. A word of caution, these apps are new, so during the busy holiday season, make sure you carry that credit card just as a backup. For Studio 51, I'm Stephanie Buffamonte.
Thanks, Stephanie. So do you think you'll be getting that app, Sam?
Well, it is pretty hard to keep track of all my cards, so maybe this would help.
Well, best of luck to you. It's finally time for our foodie segment, and I know I've been looking forward to this. So where are you taking us, Anna?
Look no further for a succulent plate of sushi. There is a delicious sushi restaurant up in Edgewater called Nori, located on West Devon Avenue. Nori is a smaller restaurant with a cozy atmosphere. Colorful Japanese murals decorate the walls, adding a fun flair to the restaurant. While the sushi is delicious, the best part is the price. It's great for college students with sushi pieces costing just $3. I like to eat at Nori on Mondays. Why Monday? Well, the prices are half off, which makes it even more affordable. When I was there, I ordered the salmon maki, calamari maki, and miso soup, which is a perfect appetizer to order as the weather takes a chilling turn. Other varieties of sushi choices are the California maki, spicy tuna maki, and dragon maki. But if you aren't in the mood for sushi, Nori has many soup selections, bento boxes, stir-fried rice, salads, and appetizers such as egg rolls and dumplings, all delicious. For a drink, I just had water, but Nori is BYOB, bring your own beer. Water and tea is served, but you are welcome to bring in your own alcoholic beverage. Also, make sure you have cash on you before leaving. Nori only lets you pay with card if your bill spills over $15. Other than that, I highly recommend paying a visit to Nori. Make a reservation if going on a Monday. It gets packed. For Studio 51's Foodie, I'm Anna Buchanan.
Thanks, Anna. I'm not a seafood person, but even I have to say that looked delicious.
I agree. Sushi is one of my favorites, but the decent temperatures are gone. You can just about kiss them goodbye. Carly Free has your weekend weather.
Thanks, Alex and Samantha. And today we see why Chicago is called the Windy City, and that chill is going to continue throughout the weekend. Starting with tomorrow, we're going to have partly cloudy skies, a high of 46 and a low of 40. Moving into Saturday, we have a chance for some showers, and it's going to be a high of 45, a low of 28. And that's below freezing point, so those showers could turn into some flurries there. And then on Sunday, those hot chocolate marathon runners might have a hard time warming up before the race. It's going to be a high of 48 and a low of 37. This has been your weekend weather forecast for Studio 51. I'm Carly Free. Now back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Carly. Well, that doesn't sound so bad, but then again, I'm from Maine.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate some warmer temperatures. My hometown is in New Mexico, and I hear it's going to be sunny and in the high 60s. But you gotta love Chicago anyway.
Hey, did you hear about the Miss Mexico competition?
Oh yeah, Wendy Esparza. She was actually an anchor, reporter, and producer for Studio 51.
And now she's off to compete for Miss Universe.
Yeah, congratulations and good luck in the competition. Well, that's it for this week's Studio 51. I'm Alex Whitler.
And I'm Samantha Pion. Have a great weekend.